Hyvät katsojat, tervetuloa jälleen Israel-asioiden äärelle. Jatkamme edelleen matkaraportteja Israelista ja tänään tuomme terveiset toukokuun lopulla pidetyltä Jerusalemin rukousaamiaiselta. Vuonna 2017 ensi kertaa järjestetystä rukousaamiaisesta on muotoutunut vuotuinen juutalaisten ja kristittyjen vaikuttajien kohtaaminen, joka tuo paikalle poliitikkoja, diplomaatteja, järjestöjohtajia, pastoreita ja median väkeä. Tänä vuonna Jerusalemiin saapui yli 400 osallistujaa noin 40 maasta. Nyt 8. kertaa Jerusalemissa pidetyn tapahtuman lisäksi Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast on laajentunut kansainväliseksi liikkeeksi ja rukousaamiaisia on pidetty jo yli 20 maassa, viimeksi Tukholmassa huhtikuun alussa. Helsingissä tapahtuma oli vuonna 2019. Jerusalemin rukousaamiainen keskittyy rukoilemaan rauhaa Jerusalemiin ja korostaa kaupungin ja Israelin raamatullista asemaa. Tapahtuma on siis fokukseltaan erilainen kuin Washingtonissa, Helsingissä tai muualla maailman pääkaupungeissa pidettävät kansalliset rukousaamiaiset. Olen saanut osallistua Jerusalemin rukousaamiaiselle muutamaa välivuotta lukuun ottamatta sen alusta alkaen ja oli jälleen ilo tavata useita vanhoja ja uusiakin tuttuja, joiden haastattelut näemme tässä ohjelmassa. Ensiksi kuulemme Jerusalemin entisen varapormestarin ja nykyisen innovaatiolähettilään Fleur Hassan-Nahoumin haastattelun, minkä jälkeen tapaamme 2 nykyistä ja 1 entisen kansanedustajan. Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, thank you for sitting with me.
Always.
Normally, I was talking with someone, we were standing with Israel, but now we are sitting with Israel.
As long as you're with Israel, that's all good.
So you've been the deputy mayor of Jerusalem, and I heard that you were also titled as the foreign minister of Jerusalem.
Oh, well, because my portfolio in the city of Jerusalem was about foreign relations, economic development and tourism, so that's what they would call me, because I was basically in charge of Jerusalem's foreign affairs. And Jerusalem is not just, as you know, a city. It's not just a capital city. It's the center of the spiritual universe in a way. And so I took that responsibility very seriously.
Yeah. I remember we met a number of times, but we met late 2019 and we were planning to invite you to Finland.
That's right.
But suddenly, what happened?
The world stopped COVID.
That was one thing, but you signed the Abraham Accords.
That's
and
right.
you went to Arab Emirates and Morocco and other new places.
That's right.
And I was so excited about the Abraham Accords, but they ruined my intention to have you in.
Well, I can always come back.
Okay. And now you just concluded your term as
That's
the
right.
deputy mayor. And who are you now?
Good question. I'm doing a lot of things, but mainly I'm representing Israel through the foreign ministry. I was appointed in September special envoy for trade and innovation, but then the war broke out, and I started from the day the war broke out, that very morning, to do Israel's media interviews, representing Israel, what was happening to us, fighting the media battle, the very biased media from around the world. And essentially, I've been doing a lot of that. I'm also now a senior fellow of a national security think tank, and I'm also the head of a small party in the World Zionist Organization, and I'm hoping to run for the Knesset when there are elections.
All right. I've seen a number of your interviews and you've been fighting like a lioness of Jerusalem.
Well, that's how we were raised here, to fight like lions. We don't have the luxury to sit back. Everybody's a soldier in a different way. My way is through public diplomacy and through diplomacy, and I'm trying to do it as best as I can to speak truth to people that are inherently biased against us, to people who may know or don't know that they're anti-Semitic, but they're anti-Semitic, and fighting that on a day-to-day basis. It's my privilege to be able to do it with the tools that God gave me.
You know, I'm interviewing for Israel Studio. We started it in Finland in January, a weekly TV show focusing only on Israel.
Amazing.
And
how's it going?
It's going well. It's a new startup channel. Our viewership is not like mainstream media has, but
you'll get
we are there and we are spreading the truth about Israel.
That's what we need, Risto. That's really the best thing that you can do as an ally and as a friend of Israel. Just spread the truth. There's a lot of lies, a lot of libels, a lot of blood libels. Because once a libel becomes dangerous to Jews around the world, that's what a blood libel is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing, a resurgence of blood libels against Jews.
Yeah. And when you repeat a lie, a million times, it's still a lie, but for some it sounds like a truth.
Well, that's what Churchill said, that a lie can go around halfway around the world before the truth has its opportunity to get its pants on.
Israel is a startup nation, but also a nation of innovation. Finland is a bit similar. We have a lot of innovations and startups.
That's what we were talking about when I was going to come to Finland.
Yeah.
That's right.
And now I'm talking about it again. And maybe we could find something. We have a lot of universities, startups, technologies, and it would be a perfect match.
Well, now that my job is actually special envoy for innovation, maybe we can actually think about how we can do more collaborations between Finland and Israel. I think we share a few hostile enemies, and I think that we also share love for truth and liberty.
It would be wonderful to have you in Finland, and our next interview will take place there.
Näin siis Fleur Hassan-Nahoum. Tapasin israelilaisen kansanedustajan Ohud Talin ensi kertaa Tukholmassa huhtikuun alussa ja seuraavassa hänen tuntojaan juutalaisten ja kristittyjen välisestä yhteydestä.
Ohud Tal, member of Knesset, member of the Israeli parliament. What brings you to the Jerusalem prayer breakfast?
First of all, I'm a good friend of the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast already for 2 years almost. I had a privilege of joining them in Houston, Texas last year and also in Australia. And I think it's extremely important. It's a gathering of Jews and Christians who are praying together for the peace of Jerusalem. I think that in our lifetime, one of the most important things is to join forces between people of faith, because we have to fight in the same battle. We are fighting for our rights to be who we are, because you know we are in a world which is full with radical liberalism and maybe even progressivism, which try to disconnect us from our identities, and we have to struggle to fight for our identity.
In the West, in Europe, so many people and so many politicians are saying that you shouldn't mix religion and the politics. What do you think about connecting these two things?
I think that one of the biggest problems we have in the world today is that there's people who are disconnected to their religious identity and they're practicing politics. Because when you have no fear of God in your heart, then you worship yourself. And when you worship yourself, you're not working for the people. So yes, thank God, I'm a religious Jew, Orthodox religious Jew. I believe in God. I have the fear of God in my heart. And I believe that if you really want to serve your people, that's the only right path to go.
Right. So the relationship between the Jews and Christians haven't been good always.
Right.
How, if you compare the past and what has happened until today, then so we can be together and celebrate with hundreds of people from all over the world, and you as a lawmaker, member of Israeli parliament, so you are receiving us with warm hands and hugging us. So what has happened? This wasn't possible, I would say 10,
You're
20
right.
years ago.
You know, I think even today, to be honest, in Israel, most people do not understand that. Most people you know, when you're telling them that you're going to a summit with Christians, they'll be afraid. They'll say, what do you mean summit or conference with Christians? For most people in Israel, Christians, they want to kill us. I mean, this is what we know from the time of the Crusaders and on, you know, that that's the narrative. I think the reality, we see that the reality has changed. Christianity has changed. I think today evangelical Christians who support Israel, they are the biggest friends the Jewish people has in the world today. And this is something...
And almost maybe only.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
And so we have to work together. We have to strengthen our connections. And again, I believe that both sides will win from that because we're both fighting in the same battle against the woke movement, the progressive movement, who try to disconnect us from our identity. And you know what we're seeing today, for example, in America, the combination, the joint forces of radical Islamists together with extreme radicals, extreme liberals, progressive, you see they're joining forces, you see the rise of anti-Semitism because of that in college campuses. I mean, you see all kind of people who are gay people fighting together in college campuses with Hamas supporters. Which is crazy because you know that the first people to be killed, to be slaughtered by these Hamas supporters are these LGBTQ communities. So I mean, it's an absurd, it's ridiculous. We have to fight to protect family values, to protect religious values, to protect national values. This is who we are. We don't have to be ashamed of that.
Right. Let's talk about the war. What's going on? What will happen now? The world has been against you. You shouldn't go to Rafah. You went there. What's next?
First of all, we have to understand that that's going to be a long war. The war is going to be long because what Hamas did in Gaza is to build massive underground tunnels, which is 3 times the size of the underground subway in New York, in Manhattan. This is crazy. This is huge. It will take time to dismantle that. But we have an obligation. We have to make sure that Gaza will no longer be able to pose threat to Israel, that they will not be able to commit another massacre like we've seen on October 7th in Israel again. So we will do whatever is needed in order to eradicate Hamas completely, to bring back the hostages, and again, as I said, to make sure that they will not have the ability to threaten us anymore.
How much of the international resistance against you that you shouldn't go to Rafah was related to the tunnels, dozens of tunnels you found out that were directed to Egypt?
You know, I can tell you that only this week we found American ammunition in UNRWA building in Rafah that was brought there through Egypt. So you'll do the math and you'll tell me, why do you think there was such a pressure, international pressure not to go into Rafah? What were the nations or these people who were opposing us getting into Rafah, what were they so concerned about? Again, just a hint. American ammunition came through Egypt into an UNRWA building in Rafah. So you'll do the math.
All right, member of Knesset, Ohud Tal, thank you for your time. Thank you for talking to Finnish Israel Studio, a weekly TV show in Finland. I'm honored.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you
God
very
bless
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Ruotsalainen kansanedustaja Alexander Christianson oli ainut pohjoismainen poliitikko, joka osallistui Jerusalemin rukousaamiaiselle. Katsotaan, mitä hän ajattelee Israelin tilanteesta ja Israelin ja Ruotsin välisistä suhteista. Tervetuloa tänne Jerusalemin Waldorf Astoria hotelliin, jossa jatkamme näitä Israelin raportteja. Ja tässä minulla on mielenkiintoinen vieras Ruotsista. Alexander Christianson.
Yes.
Member of the Swedish Parliament. What brings you to Jerusalem?
Well, actually, there is a few things that brings me here. But first of all, it's a very critical time for Israel. as everyone knows. For me personally, it's important to stand up for what I believe is righteous. And I believe standing up for Israel in this time is righteous. So, and also my party, I'm a member of the Sweden Democrats in Sweden. For us, it's very important to take a stand in this conflict. And we always been on Israel's side when it comes to this conflict, because there is so many reasons, but you know, it's important to be here. And I think today we've been in Knesset to have a meeting, and I've been meeting with the president and some ministers, and it's been very appreciated that for Israel that we are coming as parliamentarians to show our support in this critical time. So it's important.
Unfortunately, I haven't found any Finnish parliamentarians here, and you probably are the only one from Sweden.
That's right.
And your party is also part of the coalition in Sweden, and the new government or the existing government, its policy towards Israel is very different from the past government. What changed the wind?
Well, to be honest, left from right, that's a game changer when it comes to most questions, I would say, in Sweden. And of course, the right parties, moderate party, the Christian Democrats and the Liberals, and of course the Sweden Democrats, we are all in favor of Israel at this time. And it's been a debate. I mean, when it comes to aid through UNRWA to Palestine and all the corruption we've seen there, and it's been important to take a stand and to mark when something is bad and something is not right. And I will say that this government has done that, which I think is very good, and I think that's also very good for the country in general. So yeah, I'm happy.
Just a few weeks back, we all watched and had our eyes on Malmö,
Right.
the Eurovision Song Contest, and the atmosphere there was, I would say, very hostile towards Israel. How did you see the situation out there? And
I mean, come on, if you, I would say that it goes through most Europe countries now. We had a huge migration to Sweden from countries that are anti-Semitic in their foundation, sort of. And of course, that's going to have an effect, when the conflict blows up, like it did the 7th of October last year. In Malmö, there was convoys of cars, making sound, shooting up fire, fireworks, and celebrating what Hamas did to Israel. And that says something, So we have a huge problem, and me and my party always knew that this has been a problem that's been going on for very long. And as soon as you say those things, you are called a racist or a Islamophobe or something like that. But we all knew, and it's been under the surface for very long. And now it came up and showed its really ugly face. And you can see it today as well in the streets, in the squares, big demonstrations shouting out from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And they don't even know what it means,
Right. So I understood that you are also the chair of the cultural committee.
No, I'm the group leader for the Sweden Democrats in the cultural
right.
affairs.
Okay.
Yes.
But that deals with anti-Semitism also. What's under your chairmanship? What's going on, and what would be the future in Sweden related to anti-Semitism? Yeah,
in under my responsibility in the cultural affairs, we handle natural minorities, and the Jewish group is a natural minority in Sweden. So we had to we've been in our budgets, we have giving a lot more extra money for the Jewish minority, so they can be able to keep up the security. As what we're seeing right now is Jews that are not able to live in for instance, Malmö, and we see this spreading. So I talked to Jews, many Jews from different areas, and they say the same thing, like in the future, we're not going to be able to stay in Sweden if this continues. So this problem is real, and the threat is real. And if we don't wake up and start doing some real stuff about this, it's going to be bad. That's my prediction.
I wish you and your party and Sweden all the best in fighting against anti-Semitism. And thank you for taking time and talking to Israel Studio.
Thank you so much.
Alex.
Yes, thank you.
Michele Bachmann on Jerusalemin rukousaamiaisen yksi perustajista ja sen toinen puheenjohtaja. Hän oli Yhdysvaltojen edustajanhuoneen jäsen vuoteen 2015 ja tavoitteli republikaanipuolueen presidenttiehdokkuutta 2012, mutta ei tullut valituksi. Nykyään hän toimii Regent-yliopiston dekaanina. Michele Bachmann, thank you for talking to Israel Studio for the Finnish viewers.
Oh, thank you. I always love to talk to you.
All right. Hey, as a top American politician, you ran for the candidates for president 2012.
Yes.
So it's an honor to have you here. But what brings you to Israel? You are co-chair for the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast since 2017.
Yes.
What drives you?
Well, I love Israel. I've always loved Israel. And I was asked to be the co-chair, and it was an incredible privilege and an honor to do that because it allowed me to be a part of something that wants to bless Israel and bless the Jewish people, not just here in Israel, but all over the world. And now when Israel is under attack, this is the time when nations need to show their true colors. Are they going to stand with God's word and bless Israel? Or are they going to curse Israel? And we're seeing nations take different tacks, but nations have an opportunity for blessing or cursing. And so they get to make the choice.
So the Bible is your motivation?
Yes, the Bible is my motivation.
When you look at the U.S. politics today, what do you see?
Well, it's been somewhat frenetic and chaotic, but I think we're seeing a huge shift right now. There is a shift toward more globalism, I would say. And today, the United States is more rejecting the idea of being governed by international bodies because they're seeing, for instance, the International Criminal Court. What an absolutely offensive move that they're making regarding Israel. Here you have Israel, innocent Israelis who are attacked by terrorists. And so the International Criminal Court wants to find Israel and its leaders before the court, or the International Court of Justice that wants to find it illegal for Israelis to be in the land. Nothing is more certain than the fact that Israel has the international right in law to this land. It's been for over 100 years. It was after the Ottoman Empire collapsed after World War I, and all the nations of the world at that time under the League of Nations agreed that the Jewish people have the right to the homeland. That agreement was incorporated into the UN. That stood for over 100 years. There's no other nation that has a right to the land. And so it's false to say that Israel is an occupier, in other words, illegally on the land, because really the issue that we're seeing today isn't about legal occupation of the land. It's about the hatred of the Jewish people. You don't kill people, slaughter people, rape people, put a baby in an oven. Who does that? You have to have a maligned heart to do something like that. So this is about a hatred of a people that's demonically inspired. And that has to end. I mean, that's monstrous to have that kind of thinking. That kind of thinking has to end.
Right. Help us understand the U.S. politics.
Okay, I'm sorry.
One day in the morning you see President Biden speaking for Israel, and a few hours later, so he seems to reject and seems to criticize the whatever Israel is doing, and what's behind?
Well, I think it's being a politician. I think it's trying to have it both ways, because President Biden wants to be seen as pro-Israel, but behind the scenes in our U.S. State Department,
is he pro-Israel?
I think he thinks he is in his mind, but look at the decisions that have come out. You know, the day after Israel was attacked, our Secretary of State tweeted that Israel needed to not fight. They needed to not defend themselves. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
They just experienced a genocide. What? They're supposed to wait around for another October 7th, especially after the leaders of Hamas have said, we want more October 7th. We want more. In other words, we want to keep killing Jews until they're all gone. It is bizarre. America has never been as anti-Israel as we are under Joe Biden. And it has to do with the fact that we've had a lot of Muslim immigration into the United States. And the Muslim immigration, they aren't pro-Israel. They hate Israel. A lot of them hate Israel. And so that comes out in their politics. And Joe Biden wants their vote. So he doesn't think he'll lose the Jewish vote. He's really going after the Muslim vote. But it's interesting, right now, the Muslims have made a decision in the United States, not all, but a good number of them. And they've decided, we're going to punish Joe Biden. We're going to punish the Democrat Party. We're not going to vote for them.
Good for them.
And what they're saying is that they're going to take over the Democrat Party. The Muslims in the United States intend to make the Democrat Party a Muslim party, a pro-Hamas party. And if you look at Democrat politicians in the United States, a lot of them have thrown their lot in with the pro-Hamas party. This is dangerous because they're throwing their lot in with terrorists. Hamas is a franchise of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization. So for the Democrat Party to be supporting Hamas is something we have never seen before in the United States. That's why a lot of people are waking up. Jewish people are waking up in the United States, but a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, why are we for Iran? Iran is the chief state sponsor of terrorism in the world. They have had that distinction since 1979. Why would the Biden administration try to help Iran get a nuclear weapon? And why would they try to help them win? Between President Biden and President Obama, they've given Iran over $200 billion to build their nuclear weapons program. And Iran is the only nation who, once they get a nuclear weapon, they'll use it. They'll use it because their goal is to kill every Jew that they possibly can. Because they hate Jews, they want to annihilate the Jewish state.
So what would be your message to the Christians in Finland and in Europe?
I would say hello to them, and we are friends. We have a common cause. Our common cause is to love the Lord our God with all of our heart and to seek to know him and make him known. We want to glorify God in all of our ways. So it doesn't matter where you are on the planet, if you're in America or if you're in Africa or if you're in Europe. That is our goal. We are one person together. We are united, and we're united in our faith. And our faith is based on peace. That's what we're doing in Jerusalem right now. We're gathering together for the purpose of prayer, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Because when there's peace in Jerusalem, there's peace that goes across the world. That's what we're praying for.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tässä tämänkertainen Israel-studio. Palaamme jälleen Israelin matkan terveisiin viikon päästä torstaina. Mutta jos et tullut katsoneeksi viime viikon Israel-studioa, jossa haastattelin erään Hamasin ottaman panttivangin isää, katso ihmeessä tuo haastattelu. Ymmärrät sen myötä paljon paremmin sitä tilannetta, mikä Israelissa, mikä juutalaisen kansan keskuudessa on. Löydät tuon ja monet muutkin ohjelmat osoitteesta israelstudio.fi. Kiitos seurasta ja palataan asiaan jälleen ensi torstaina kello 20. Hei hei!